mean, it's almost a done deal. 259 constituency results so far verified, validated, and declared here at the Bomas of Kenya. What remains is just about 32 constituencies. Basically tells you that this process is done and dusted. Barring any serious situation, we should be able to have the final declaration maybe in another 1 hour or 2 hours time. Put it this way, maybe latest at about to know with certainty who is President Uhuru Kenyatta's successor in the presidential election that was conducted on Tuesday. Taking into account that also time is running out, tomorrow is the final day that the declaration can be made. But be it as it may, you remember the IEBC commissioners had said they will not exhaust all the 7 days that they have constitutionally to conclude the process of verifying and validating as well as declaring the presidential results. They still have 1 day to spare. So this process looks almost a done deal. So maybe in another 1 hour or 2 hours time maximum, we should be able to have the final declaration and the answer to who is President Uhuru Kenyatta's successor. 32 constituencies is way less. And in any case, Trevor, those 32 constituency results have already been verified and validated. All that we are waiting for is for the commissioners to come and declare those results publicly and tell Kenyans how those constituencies voted. And after that, just the process of now processing the Form 34C that gives us a tabulation of all the presidential election results from the 290 constituencies plus the diaspora constituency, as well as the 46,229 polling stations across the country. That is the tabulation that will be contained in Form 34C. And eventually, prepare the Form 34D, which is basically the certificate that is awarded to the person who is declared winner in the presidential election. So what remains is way less than what has happened in the last 5-6 days, Trevor.
Yeah, Gachuri, are you getting a sense that the agents are in agreement with the numbers being read out? Because yesterday there was a bit of push and pull in terms of who has what and the propaganda going around. Are the agents in agreement with the confirmed documents that have been there? Because the floor has now been cleared, meaning work is done.
Trevor, they have no option. Remember, what basically happens here at the Bomas of Kenya is just the process of verifying and validating the results as they come from the constituencies and from the polling centers. Remember, you cannot make any changes here at the Bomas of Kenya. The forms that are coming from the polling stations, the 46,229 of them, all you can do is to take note of the errors and the discrepancies that may arise, because the results will be declared, were already announced at the polling stations. And remember the minor KI case of 2017, the Supreme Court with finality said results declared or announced at the polling station are final, basically affirming the supremacy of the polling stations in the whole process of the general election. So all that they can do here is to note and maybe use them as part of the evidence during the presidential election petition if any of those who have participated in this presidential election will be dissatisfied with the results that will be declared here by IEBC and eventually the winner who will be declared. So not that the agents have so much leeway insofar as agreeing or disagreeing with the results is concerned, insofar as whether they can also be able to stop the process from going on and declaration being made, insofar as who has won the presidential election. So they have no option. What actually happens here is just the process of verifying and validating and eventually collating all those results to come up with one final figure that will be declared for the presidential election results. So anyone who will be dissatisfied will have 7 days from the date of the declaration of results, which presumably is today, maybe up to Monday next week, to file a petition at the Supreme Court, and then thereafter the Supreme Court will have 14 days to hear and determine that petition if it will be filed. So basically, it's all a wait and see game, because the agents have already witnessed what was happening. They had their people at the center of the auditorium. They were able to go through the process of verification and validation. So all they have to do is now to append their signatures to the final document so that it can be handed over to the winner, and eventually anyone dissatisfied has the legal course to take.
Yeah, Gachuri, has the IBC been able to explain the discrepancies on their online portal? Because on the Form 34Bs, only 286 have been uploaded out of the 291, meaning they still have about 5 more to go. But it seems the returning officers are already there. How come they were unable to upload their forms? And the same thing applies for the polling stations. Only 46,201 have been uploaded according to their portal out of the 46,229. So there's still 28 pending. But it seems the physical document is there. They've just not been uploaded. Have they been able to explain that discrepancy?
Trevor, you remember when IEBC was preparing for this election, they told us there were 1,111 polling stations that were not covered by a 3G network. And so that, I would assume, is the reason why some of those polling stations, their results are not yet in the portal. But it is important to affirm at this point that all the results have been brought here at the Bomas of Kenya. They have been verified, they have been validated. So that is the situation as it were, but maybe the IEBC commissioners will have to give us an explanation as to why maybe some of those forms have not been uploaded and what they were using to do the verification and the validation right here at the Bomas of Kenya. Because what was happening was basically looking at what has been brought physically vis-a-vis what was posted on the portal and comparing, and if there are any discrepancies, notes being taken. But I would assume those 1,111 polling stations are in certain constituencies, and those are the reasons why the Forms 34B and the Forms 34A have not been uploaded on the portal. But we will pose that question to the commissioners, and maybe they will be able to give us an answer insofar as that question is concerned. Remember also, Trevor, if you're to look at all the results that will be tabulated, even if, let's say, some of those constituencies and some of those polling stations whose results have not been brought here, were not brought here at all, for one reason or the other, all that IEBC needs to do is to look at the results that have so far been verified and validated and see whether the remainder of the constituencies and the remainder of the polling stations, the numbers therein would be so significant as to alter the final tally, and whether, even without necessarily looking at them, whether they would in any way affect the final declaration between the first candidate and the second candidate insofar as that list of the presidential election is concerned. So let's wait for IEBC commissioners to tell us what has happened. But from where I sit and from where I stand, the information we have is that all the forms have been able to arrive here. They were brought here by the relevant officers, the returning officers, and they have been verified and validated.
Hapo sawa Gashuri, wewe na Chebukati mko hivi, lakini nasikia kuna mwana bado anataka kukuuliza swali hapa.
Pengine Gashuri, tu kwa faida ya mtazamaji wetu, manake umetuambia kwamba muda usiokuwa mrefu, pengine tunahesabu masaa tu, tutakuwa tumepata kujua ni nani ambaye atakabidhiwa cheti cha kuwa rais wa taifa hili. Sasa baada ya yule mshindi kutangazwa, pengine Wakenya watarajie nini? Ni hatua gani ambayo inastahili kufuata kisheria na kikatiba?
Bila shaka mshindi akishatangazwa leo Mwanahamisi, tuliona ile kamati ambayo inashughulikia swala nzima la kuchukua hatamu za uongozi kutoka kwa rais aliye sasa hadi rais ambaye atakuwa amechaguliwa, wanaita Assumption to the Office of President Committee, imeshaanza shughuli zake. Inasubiri tu tangazo la ni nani atakayekuwa mshindi katika kinyang'anyiro hiki cha urais, na punde tu atakapotangazwa, na ikiwa kama atakuwa ameafiki yale matakwa ya katiba, yani awe amepata angalau 50% ya kura zote za urais zilizopigwa siku ya Jumanne na kura nyingine moja, na vile vile awe amepata angalau 25% ya kura zote za urais ambazo zilipigwa katika angalau kaunti 24, basi atakuwa ameafiki matakwa hayo. Na ikiwa hakuna yeyote ambaye atawasilisha rufaa katika mahakama ya juu, basi huyu ambaye atakuwa ametangazwa leo kama mshindi, basi shughuli nzima ya kumwapisha itang'oa nanga, ikiwemo shughuli za kamati ambayo inashughulikia swala hilo nzima, na kamati hiyo inaongozwa na mkuu wa utumishi wa umma Joseph Kinywa, na ina wanachama kadhaa ikiwemo mkuu wa majeshi, msajili mkuu wa mahakama, makatibu mbalimbali wa wizara husika ikiwemo ile wizara ya fedha, ikiwemo mkuu inspector general wa polisi na maafisa wengine ambao wanashughulika moja kwa moja na shughuli nzima ya kumwapisha rais. Na vile vile pia ukumbuke hata wizara ya mashauri ya kigeni inahusika katika kamati hiyo, kwa sababu inatarajiwa na ni mtindo kwamba hata kuna marais kutoka mataifa ya nje na wageni wengine waalikwa kutoka mataifa ya nje watakuwa wanafika hapa ili kushuhudia zoezi hilo la kumwapisha rais mpya. Lakini iwapo hakuna yeyote ambaye atakuwa amepata angalau 50% ya kura zote za urais ambazo zitakuwa zimepigwa, basi ule wa kwanza na wa pili watalazimika kurejea uwanjani kumenyana. Lakini vile vile kumbuka, kuna nafasi ya yule ambaye hatakuwa ameridhika na matokeo haya kuyawasilisha rufaa katika mahakama ya juu, yani Supreme Court, na muda huo ni wa siku 7 uko kwenye katiba, na mahakama ya juu itakuwa na siku 14 kusikiza na kuamua kesi hiyo na kubaini iwapo uchaguzi uliandaliwa kwa njia iliyo nzuri ama kulikuwa na dosari ambazo labda zimeafiki kiwango cha kusema ama kuagiza uchaguzi urejelewe tena kama ilivyofanyika mwaka 2017. Kwa hivyo matokeo yatakayotangazwa hapa na mwenyekiti wa IEBC Wafula Chebukati kutueleza ni nani aliyeshinda, ameshinda kwa kura ngapi, asilimia gani ya kura zote ambazo zimepigwa, basi tangazo hilo ndilo litakalofungua ukurasa wa matukio mengine ambayo yatafuata yanayohusiana na uchaguzi huu wa urais.
Sawa sawa, asante sana Gashuri. Turudi hapa studio angalau pia nimpatie mwenzangu Safin nafasi, na hakika pengine ana maswali kwa wageni wetu, lakini kabla sijawapokeza